Hi everyone, my name is Waheed. I'm the managing director for Consultant Manage, a leading ERP and CRM consultancy business. We deal with different ERPs and CRM systems, and today's video is about one of the series we are going through right now is Zoho Creator. How you can develop a low-code application, and we are going through a series of actions or series of videos where we are discussing about different factors involved and how to build up a base application in Zoho Creator. Later on, obviously, you can add more value to it through building out more advanced level specification and functionalities with Zoho Creator. But we are building a base application here, which will give you an idea what you can basically build and how this low code application platform works. So today video is about building up the front-end user access management system. So the key capabilities we will be building right now is how to register a user from the front end, how to delete a user from the front end, how to give a status active and deactive inactive to a user from the front end instead of going at the back end. So let's don't waste any time and get straight into the application. So most of the people who have used Creator or who understand Creator, so who have gone through the documentation up to a base level, understand that generally what we do for user access management system, user access, defining, registering a user, basically, we need to go to the backend. But when we say backend, we basically go to the settings, we go to the users, and we go to the particular user and add users, right? And then we have permission sets, we assign them read or write values. But what if we can register the user from the front end, which is basically a demand for a low code application as well, because not everyone wants to go at the back end and do that. And most importantly, not everyone should be like going back, because not everyone is required to do that, because it's an extra number of clicks. Why don't we just bring it at the front end? By default it's not available, so we have to build a custom code solution for it. So first of all, as we see, we have a user form which we build, and if you watch my previous videos, you will understand why we created the user form in the first place. We have email field, we have user profile, we have access type, and we have order form. And this is basically, now there are a few things that needs to be fixed here. So order form lookup is not required here, so we will first of all delete this. And then we have the email name, user profile, and we have access type. We will change it to status. And the reason I'm doing this is because there are a few things I will just inactive, active, inactive. Okay. So we'll say this as inactive. Okay. So now we have active and inactive. And for this, we will just change this as active, inactive. Okay. So we have user profile, email name, and user status, right? So now we go to all users. We have the same here as well. Now what we're gonna do is basically we'll just go straight to the workflow, because that's what will trigger the user in the first place. So we will go to the users. Okay, new user registered. We have this available here. Okay, but we'll just click on it. We'll change the name to user registered. Okay, and we will say the successful form submission. We'll add new record. We will say delete script. We'll just write var is equal to this app. So var is equal to this app dot permissions, just permissions dot sign user profile, like the one we have here, the similar line. Okay, so this app, like this is by default system variable. Permissions is basically read and write permissions that we saw at the backend. Assign user profile. Input dot email is the email that we are taking for the input, and input dot user profile true is basically the user profile that we are defining. So user profile is the profile that if we I will show you what exactly it means. Then we will say input dot status dot user status is equal to active, because we just registered it, so we want to make sure that the user is active by default, right? Because that field would be hidden, that won't be available at the front end, and so we will just say active. Okay, we'll save it. We got this, no errors, all good. Now we have this registered. Okay, similarly, what we're gonna do is we will go back. We'll go back to the users, all user itself, and user status. We will just, okay, workflow, create workflow, created or added user. Okay, and this time we will say load of the form, hidden fields. Okay, and we will say hide user status. Okay, so what this would do is basically this will hide the field. Now there are some system field like hide, show. Okay, these are like system field available, system variables or system functions available for you to utilize, and it's a low code, so that's why it's very basic, like hide. Now we go back and we go to the particular form, users, all users. If we add a new user here, we will say access this application, and now it shouldn't be showing us the user status field. Okay, it's at the backend, so we don't have it. So now if we register a user, that register would get used registered and will be assigned a status as active or inactive, right? Basically in this case it will be assigned active because we just defined a workflow which register a user and assign the role active. So I'll just go back to the workflow. Okay, users. So we have user registered. Now, till now, all good. Now what we're gonna do is basically, once a user registered, the next time I want to activate or deactivate it, the same user, I don't want to come to that, the like putting up the information again or choosing the status from the drop-down. So I would like to have a more of a robust option where I can put like a button onto the report page. So if I click here, so I want a button capability that I can utilize to basically add or remove a record. So we will go use added this application. Okay, and we will go layout. Over here we will say button, add new button. Okay, we will say activate on condition. It should be only available when the status, user status equals inactive, right? Because obviously if it's already active, why do we would like to activate it again? User, create workflow. We'll say okay, and then we'll again go to the create your own. Okay, and we will just copy paste the same thing just to save our time, and we'll save. And similarly, we'll just create activate. Okay, and similarly button, deactivate, deactivate. Okay, deactivate, deactivate. On confirmation, like conditions, status equals active. So if the status is active, then we will be able to deactivate. Okay, and this will basically on system it will be deactivated from the front end, but in reality from the back end, this is user will be deleted. Okay, we can also set up a confirmation message, either yes or no, that we would like to execution, we would like to execute, or we don't want to execute based on the use case scenario. In this, we don't have a use case where we want to take their confirmation, but we can set up a confirmation which basically allow them to understand what would be the result of deleting this record, right? So we'll say create workflow, and then we'll go back to the delete script, create your own. So we'll say var is equal to this app dot, just give me one sec, user dot email. Okay, and we will say input dot user status is equal to inactive. This app.permission.delete user input.email, the email that we initially got it from, input.user status is inactive, and it will update the status as inactive. Save. Okay. Now, what happened here is basically we'll say create and now activate, deactivate. Okay. So whenever we register a user, we can activate and we can deactivate this user in the system. And we will, once we start testing the application, I will show you how these buttons really work. The other thing we can do is basically from the action tab, we can add the action to activate or deactivate. So whenever someone clicks on a record, on a report record, it will straight away activate or deactivate. So we can use this custom functions or buttons that we just used by or putting directly on the action of the record. Which means if we see a report, if we click on any of that record of that report, what should it do? Okay, so it would, what it would do is basically the right now what it would do is it will edit it. Okay, I can do different things. I can edit, I can duplicate, I can delete, I can do nothing, and I can activate, deactivate as well, right? So these are different like things. Add new item, we can click as, like I can basically add new item means I can add a new function here which it can do. Okay, and then similarly goes with the detail view. We can add actions here. So I will add an action as activate, and I will also add an action as a deactivate. So it will only be available if the user is active or deactive. So based on that, these options would be available. We don't want to delete it, so we will just remove the delete option as a whole. So make sure that no one would be able to delete anything. We'll just remove this. We can later on add if we require, but for now we will just remove it. Okay, so we will just remove this as well. Okay, so now we have removed it and we are all good here. So this was it in terms of front-end user management. So now we have a front-end user management system. And secondly, you must have seen the report workflows, they were empty. Now, because we defined those buttons within the report, so that's why we have the activate user and deactivate user workflows like buttons available. And similar goes with the form workflows. If we go to the users, we have user registered and hidden fields. So using those, we can basically manage to get the rest of the part, rest of the user management system sorted. So this was it for this video. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, feel free to subscribe now. And if you have any questions regarding Zoho Creator, feel free to reach out to me. I will be more than happy to assist you. And having said that, the important thing here is that In this video, we discussed how we can give a user a front end access management, sort of a registration process. Instead of going at the back end and going into the settings and managing the users from there, he can basically manage the users from the front end. So this was in terms of user management or user registration in Zoho Creative from front end. And if you have any questions, feel free. And in the next video, we will be discussing about custom action buttons and the pick, pack, ship statuses. Instead of, we will be doing particularly the same thing, but in a different way, is that instead of pick, pack, ship, doing it manually by record to record, we will just create different reports, which we have already done. So we will create different buttons where the users would be able to click on a button and the record would move to the next stage. Okay, instead of them going into the record itself and making those changes, they will just click on a button and the record would move to the next stage. And then this way, the whole process would work. So that's it. If you have any questions, any queries, feel free. Let's move to the next video. Thank you.